Hello. This is the Vietnam Social News Update for October 20th, 2025. Date of news coverage: October 20th, 2025. Politics. In an opening session of the 10th plenary meeting of the 15th Legislature of the National Assembly, the leadership of Vietnam emphasized this gathering as one of historic importance. The agenda presents 49 draft laws, 4 draft resolutions, and 13 major socio-economic and budget-related matters, all to be carried out between now and December 11th. Leadership statements have underscored the need for lawmakers to demonstrate wisdom, responsibility, and democracy in reviewing legislation and approving key state personnel. Beyond the legislative pileup, what stands out is the underlying signal. The political system is gearing up for institutional renewal ahead of the next party Congress. The emphasis on procedural reform, enhanced supervision, and clearer lines of accountability reflects a broader desire to legitimize governance through performance, not just proclamation. The Prime Minister's report to the Assembly stressed innovation, digital transformation, and administrative reform as pillars of the next phase of governance. Within this context, the link between politics and economics is sharper than ever. Personnel decisions, reform agendas, and legislative outputs are not separate from the growth strategy. They are integral. Institutional reform is being cast as essential to Vietnam's ambition to transition from labor-intensive growth to knowledge and technology-driven expansion. The upcoming session will therefore be a litmus test for how far the government is willing to open space for reform while retaining central control. Economy now. Let's move to the economy. Vietnam's economy is stepping into a new phase. The government has set an ambitious target: at least 10% GDP growth in 2026, with inflation capped around 4.5%, and per capita income rising toward $5,400 to $55 US. Economic size has also crossed the $500 billion threshold in 2025, reflecting graduated progress in global standing. The trade volume is projected at around $900 billion, placing Vietnam among the world's top 20 trading nations. However, the optimism is tempered by caution. Much of the growth to date remains rooted in cheap labor, export assembly, and abundant low-cost resources. The Prime Minister acknowledged that Vietnam still depends heavily on labor and resources, not yet technology and innovation. At the same time, external headwinds are clear: U.S. tariffs on textile and footwear exports, shifting global supply chains, and acute environmental risks. To address those, Vietnam plans to diversify export destinations, engage more deeply in economic diplomacy, and ramp up infrastructure investment, including major projects such as a north-south high-speed railway and expanded satellite internet services. The state budget revenue has already exceeded estimates, signaling fiscal strength. But how the country transforms structure rather than simply rate of growth remains the key challenge. Society and culture. Next, in society and culture, Vietnam is turning culture into a bridge for trade, diplomacy, and national branding. A striking example: the Vietnam Pho Festival 2025 in Singapore, held October 18th through 19th under the theme Pho, Enjoying Together, Growing Together. Thousands of visitors gathered, tens of thousands of bowls of the iconic Vietnamese noodle soup were served, and over 400 business meetings took place between Vietnamese and Singaporean enterprises. The festival capped off with tangible export and investment leads, illustrating culture's role in commerce. At home, social dynamics are shifting. Authorities are emphasizing digital governance, cybersecurity, and public service reform. While these changes may seem administrative, they reflect a deeper effort to modernize the social contract. Citizens expect more responsiveness, transparency, and efficacy, and the government is signaling it intends to deliver. Meanwhile, mobility, youth culture, and global media are reshaping how identity and aspiration are expressed in Vietnam. Taken together, these developments suggest Vietnam is stepping beyond its manufacturing factory identity and emphasizing creativity, connectivity, and soft power. Yet the transition will require that culture and social policy not just be celebratory but inclusive, making sure the benefits of growth and modernization reach more segments of society, and that social cohesion keeps pace with economic change. International relations. Finally, in international relations, Vietnam's diplomacy is increasingly nuanced and pragmatic. An interesting trend is the softening public attitude toward China. Youth-oriented content on social media, coverage of Chinese military discipline and shared cultural themes have helped reduce overt hostility toward Beijing, even while security concerns remain. This evolution allows Hanoi more flexibility. It can pursue commercial, infrastructure, and connectivity projects with China while maintaining ties with the United States and other partners. Simultaneously, Vietnam is enhancing its economic diplomacy. The Deputy Prime Minister has highlighted efforts to leverage Vietnam's global role, boost foreign relations, and drive national development. The emphasis is on innovation, digital transformation, infrastructure, and deeper international integration. At the same time, Vietnam is exploring export markets beyond its traditional ones, focusing more on Middle Eastern, Latin American, and African countries as a hedge against tariff pressure from the United States. In effect, Vietnam is positioning itself as a bridge between East and West, between manufacturing and innovation, between regional integration and global engagement. The coming years will test how well it can manage these relationships while protecting its national interests, maintaining sovereignty, and delivering on the economic growth and social expectations that underpin its rising international profile. Thank you for listening to the Vietnam Social News Update. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And see you again tomorrow. This news summary is based on publicly available reports and rewritten uniquely for Vietnam Social News. VietnamNews.com is the official web address of Vietnam Social News. We are an independent platform, not affiliated with Vietnam News Agency or any government-owned media outlet.